Hello, Sustainable Parents. Flora McCormick here. I am so honored to spend this time with you. Thank you for being here. And I see many parents showing up. Oops, sorry. And I would love to know who's here. So we have people I know who are here in Bozeman with me. Leave a comment whether you're watching here in Zoom or on the Facebook page so that I can know who's attending. This is a 3-day workshop on calm, confident parenting. And I love to be a part of workshops like this because it lets me be in the space, in the room with parents who care deeply about parenting. And I'm honored to be here with you. I know it takes a lot to show up, to be in this space. And so I want to say thank you for making it work, whatever's been a part of your day. I had a sick kiddo at home. She was up at 4 a.m. throwing up last night. And then, we've had the day that we've had, and who knows what's gone on in your life to bring you here to this moment. So I really want to say, give yourself a high five for showing up. I'm going to make the most of this time for you, and especially over the next 3 days. So what are we going to cover? Today's topic is parenting smarter, not harder. I'm going to give you the 3 common mistakes that I have seen in my time as a parenting coach and working with families over the last 20 years that really keep well-meaning parents stuck in places where they're not parenting smarter, and they're really struggling and stuck in cycles of suffering or frustration. The second thing tomorrow is I'm going to give you how to ask the right questions and a recipe around how we do not negotiate with terrorists, and 2 key ways that we give terrorists power that create a win-win. That's all about how to encourage cooperation. We're going to talk about bedtime, getting out the door, tech time, so you won't want to miss that. And then day 3 is the best question to ask to end daily challenges, to end the daily battles. So that's our 3-day process. Just a couple key things. They're each 20 minutes. If you want to watch a replay that you might miss, or you want to share this video with someone, you can find them at sustainableparenting.com/workshop. And if you and know that this is an introduction to a conversation, I'm going to invite you at the end of each day to message me an action step. And that's totally on whatever level you'd like to. If you'd like to just receive this information and move on and not do that, totally fine. If you're like, I want to get everything I can out of having access to a parenting coach of 10 years, a licensed counselor, then let's do it. Feel free to email me, personal message me on those action steps, and we'll continue the conversation after these workshop days. So I am really glad that you're here. I'm honored to be in your presence, and having you show up here tells me that you care deeply about parenting, either for yourself or for someone you're supporting. I know we have people here that are pediatricians, people who are school educators, people who are preschool directors. We have a variety of folks that are here in the virtual room with us. So I know that you care deeply about parenting. And also, because you're here, it tells me that either for you or someone you care about, it has not been going how you had planned. And it is not going how you had imagined. In some way, you're not feeling calm, or you're not feeling confident. You're having more upset than you ever imagined. You're feeling very frustrated. Would you be willing to share what's bringing you most here today? Has it been losing your temper? Has it been just wishing that things could be easier? Has it been losing some joy in your time with your kids? Has it been feeling like you're not the mom you wanted to be? Has it been overwhelm, exhaustion? Put in the comments so that I can see you and know and be able to address those. I see you, Karen. Hi. I see you, Leah. Yeah. So you are here because you care deeply about parenting, and in these ways, it has not been going how you had imagined. You are not alone. You will see through this week, perhaps in the comments here, that there are other parents experiencing similar things. Yes, thank you. Thank you for saying some of the things that you'd like to have change. You're not alone in experiencing that. And boy, have I been there. I'm going to share with you a story in just a moment that was my most embarrassing moment in parenting and witnessed by about 40 other parents at the pool here in Bozeman. Maybe some people who are watching will end up being folks who were there. I will totally be honest about one of my most embarrassing moments. And thirdly, the fact that you are here tells me that not only do you care deeply about parenting, it hasn't been going exactly how you imagine, but you're someone who's at a workshop about parenting smarter, not harder, because you do not have time to waste. You are someone who's got, whether a corporate executive or a stay-at-home mom, you've got a lot of things you care about, and you care about parenting, and you want to do it as best as possible and as effectively as possible. So let's do it. Let's dive in. We are going to give you the 3 key errors that keep people not parenting smarter so that you can let go of those and be able to then fully be parenting in the most effective way, saving you time and energy because you do not have it to waste. Yes. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Lori Ann. I see your examples of what has been a challenge. Okay. So let's get going. And I want to start by telling you the story about when I was not parenting smarter. I can remember it like it's happening to me right now. It was a warm, sunny day, felt the sun on my back as I was walking out onto the edge of the pool with my son, who was 3. And this was his first swimming class, but he loved the water and he was excited about it. So we got into the edge of the pool and put our legs in, and we splashed around a little bit and we looked around a little bit. And this is a setting where the pool is like a square and parents line up all around on the outside of the perimeter, basically where all of the kids are sitting on the edge waiting for their teachers and then have their class right there in that square. So I'm feeling pretty positive. We're looking around, a lot of parents and kids, everyone looks happy. And then comes the time where I say, it looks like your teacher's here. Okay, honey, I'm going to go. I'm going to stand right over here. And he loses it. He is clawing at my swimsuit. He is scratching my skin. He's screaming in my ear. And my blood is just boiling. My cheeks are burning red with embarrassment. I feel like as I'm looking around, every single one of those 80 eyeballs of parents and 80 eyeballs of other children are staring at me and judging me and wondering what the heck is she going to do with that kid? And I was so flooded with overwhelm and panic. I bounced back and forth between supporting him, validating him, encouraging him, and then getting so frustrated that wasn't working that I was like threatening him and saying all the things that were going to be taken away if he didn't suck it up and get it together. And then I'd feel bad about that, and that wasn't working. So then I'd come back over to super soft and coddling and emotional and supportive. And all the while, none of it made it any better. The 35-minute class for 5 weeks in a row, or 5 days in a row, was exactly like that. And I was so overwhelmed, embarrassed, felt out of control, felt really angry at him, and very powerless of how the heck this was ever going to be any different. Have you ever been there? Can you relate? Yeah. And what I realized in that moment was that something had to change. And I listened to something in my gut that I hadn't felt like I could really listen to. And it was that there could be a balance between kind and firm at the same time. I was feeling lost because I felt sort of obligated by all of my education with my master's in counseling, and about every blog I had seen leaned really heavily in supporting the child. And then kind of my mom, who raised 3 kids on her own, and advice from the 80s and other things I read were a little more on the strict side. And I just vacillated between those two, feeling really lost. But in the moment, I realized I think I could find a road. My gut is sensing there's a road that's both kind and firm at the same time. And I listened to it, and I started down a road that has now become what is the acronym CEO: connection, encouraging cooperation, and ownership, that work in virtually every situation that I face with my children and I share with hundreds of parents every year. And so I'm excited to share with you some of those super effective tools. We're going to dive into them. The first step to be able to make the changes into those tools and into that process is to acknowledge and notice and let go of old habits that are not serving you. So friends, in my 20 years of working with kids, and in 10 years of being a parenting coach, and now 8 years of being a mom to 2 kids, there are a couple key mistakes that I have noticed are foundational that keep people suffering and not parenting smarter. So let's notice those, let's talk about them, and how to stop doing those so that you can parent smarter, not harder. So the first one, or the 3 of them, are, first of all, parenting from the neck up. The 3 errors I see are parenting from the neck up, parenting like a pinball, and asking the wrong questions. Let me break those down so we can see if you can relate to any of those that have been holding you back and keeping you stuck, not parenting smarter and not having calm and confidence. And these are all the things I was doing in that moment with Caleb. Parenting from the neck up is something that I'm seeing so frequently. It's intellectualizing instead of being effective. What happens is we, are adults and we talk in our adult lives. And so then we can get where we want to explain things to our children. And if this is something that you're doing, you're likely saying things like, well, I tell him what he needs to do differently, but it doesn't seem to change, or he ignores you. He just doesn't listen to me when I'm saying what he needs to do. I tell her to calm down and she doesn't. I explain why this behavior is not acceptable and it never changes. Is this sounding familiar? If so, it's because we live in this intellectual world where we think explaining is everything. And I'm here to tell you that you can be way more effective instead of intellectualizing. What I mean is, yes, there's a place for explaining things, of course, but our brains and our child's brain are very complex, and we have different emotional states. And we can be in what we know about the brain in terms of being logical, or the brain can be in a state that's kind of limbic system activated, emotional, or we can be in a state of like flipped lid, amygdala firing, hijacked amygdala, fight, flight, or freeze, or some version of that. And we often as parents come in intellectualizing with a brain that is flipped, or with a brain that's half flipped, and that's why it's not working. So I want to encourage you, whether it's through sustainable parenting or other methods, to think about that being a mistake that you want to stop doing today, to stop parenting from the neck up, intellectualizing when you're in a moment actually that would be more effective, to be problem solving, to be going through role playing, to be practicing the skills that you want to be building, to use your strategies to be able to calm their emotions, to be an emotion coach. All of those things are the opposite of intellectualizing and can be so much more effective. The second key mistake that I see a lot of parents making that keep well-meaning parents not parenting smarter is using strategies like a pinball machine instead of being predictable. One of the key things that we know about attachment is that predictability is really important. And we can end up with the best of intentions, looking to research here and there. We're following accounts on Instagram. We're looking at things on Facebook. We're reading books. We're reading blogs. And all the while, this like vastness of resources can seem like a positive, but it can lead us to be very unpredictable. I may be dating myself here, but my uncle used to have a pinball machine. And what that was is like an old school kind of video game arcade thing that you'd shoot a ball up and then you'd have these two buttons. And as you push them, different things would kind of fire off on this board. Might send a little spinny thing, it might have flickers, and all the while you're hoping that as the ball gets touched by those things, it keeps it out of falling into the gully in the middle. And your only tool is to just keep pushing those buttons and hoping that this thing over here and that thing over there that it makes it do are gonna keep your ball from falling. That's how it felt to me when I was in pinball parenting, when I was in that moment with Caleb of like, I don't know, should I just be more supportive, or maybe I need to be more stern, tough love? Okay, no, that seemed too harsh. And it was because I was grabbing ideas from too many different places and I didn't have one solid recipe that I trusted that I could repeat so that I could master it, so that I could feel more confident that it was predictable. I had a plan of what I was going to do. And instead of that chaotic pinball feeling of like, I'm just going to push this and try this and hope something works, it was like, I've got a strategy. I know what I'm going to do first. I know what I'm going to do second. I know what I'm going to do third. It's the steps of C, E, and O. So when you're parenting like a pinball machine, it's with well-intention that you're grabbing ideas from here, there, and everywhere. I want to invite you to consider choosing your one path and focusing there, mastering a skill and a strategy and a system there will help you feel so much less chaotic. Instead of pinball being predictable. Is this relating for anyone? You find yourself in that pinball place? Yeah. Thank you. So the third one, friends, is asking the wrong questions. And boy, was I there with Caleb. What questions was I asking? I was asking, why are you doing this? Why are you so difficult? Why can't you be like all of these other kids? Why is this so hard for you? Why can't you just do this differently? Why can't your emotions just be different? Why? You ever find yourself asking that a lot, either like in your head, or a lot of parents will say they'll say it to their kids even, and they get a blank stare and it's frustrating. But here's the reason: they don't have an answer. They don't have the awareness to know, well, mommy, I'm lacking a skill to manage the situation. And that's your job as my parent, is to help me to learn it. They don't know that. They don't have the awareness. They're not going to be able to say, well, I'm testing the boundary to see what you're going to do. So when we get stuck in why, it gives away our power. It's like begging and pleading for them to be different. Why can't you? And I want to put you in the power seat. You are going to have more calm and confidence when you start asking more effective questions. And if you want to know more about this, I'll send you my video of the worst F in parenting, the worst F word in parenting. And you can message me, I want that F word video, and I'll send it to you. So friends, tomorrow we're going to also get into what are the right questions. What are the more effective questions to be asking instead of why? That's just a shame and blame game and gives away your power. So for tonight, what I want you to do is really think about how much time, when you don't have time and energy to waste, how much have you wasted in either being in a place of that first area where you are parenting from the neck up and intellectualizing when it's not hitting the brain that's able to receive it, or that you have been parenting like a pinball instead of having a predictable approach that you know what's going to happen, your child knows what's going to happen, or asking the wrong questions and just being stuck in anguish and why and regret from the day instead of having a plan to move forward that you can trust. And I want to invite you, as you reflect on that, how much time? I want to invite you to make a commitment to yourself today. I am realizing this isn't what I want to do. This isn't where I want to keep doing with my time and energy. And if that's where you're at, message me what you're realizing. I am realizing that I want to change ... And I will send you a bonus that connects to that area that you're realizing has been really holding you back. And let's all commit today to be then letting those go, with the opportunity tomorrow to step into calm, confident strategies that are going to be a succinct model you can repeat again and again and again so you master it, so there's predictability, and so that there is, you know, asking effective questions, and so that you're really from the neck down doing the things that really make change happen. And I'll tell you, when I use these strategies we're going to talk about tomorrow, I signed up for a second section of that swim class with Caleb, and he stopped crying in 30 seconds. He had a wonderful experience. He actually learned a little bit about swimming, the amount that a 3-year-old can learn. And I got to go sit in my car and enjoy kind of fooling around on Facebook and having a little bit of time to myself. That's what's ahead of you. More ease, more calm, more confidence. So come back tomorrow. I can't wait to see you again. And we are going to be, like I said, giving you strategies that really encourage cooperation. And we're going to be focusing on how to apply that to technology, getting out the door, and what was the third one? And technology, getting out the door, and bedtime. 3 of the most common things that I hear parents wanting more cooperation with. So thank you for showing up. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful night.